Together at last, together forever. Okay, we've got sorry, I didn't plan that. I just burst out into singing Annie and I've tripped out JP and Laura completely. Guys, it's the 200th episode. Yay! I shouldn't say guys, that's a gendered pronoun. Y'all, it's the 200th episode. Yay!
Yay.
If I did any editing, I'd fix that and not sound like a jerk, but I don't do any editing, so I'm
We could
just
turn the recording off and start it again.
no, that's too much work. We're in it now. Here we are. If anybody's listening to this for the first time, a weird episode to
Welcome
start
at
with.
200.
At 200, I'm Jeff Elkins. Um, I don't even know how to introduce myself. I do this thing. JP and Laura, you want to introduce yourselves real quick?
I don't know if I can follow. I do this thing.
This is what I do. Now you go.
Wow.
This whole
Okay.
podcast is likely just to be me making both of you feel awkward.
I don't know. I feel
Perfect.
like this is quintessential dialogue, Doctor. You saying stuff and JP and me not really knowing
Just be like,
what to
what?
do. Like, sure.
What's happening? Yeah, it harkens back, Lord, to the time at our day job where somebody called me a Muppet, clearly as a negative thing, but I took it as a positive and made him explain to me which one, and then argued with him about how I felt I was more a Fozzie than a Gonzo. Anyway.
So we got a name, Laura.
Yeah. Thanks, JP, for keeping us on track here. I'm Laura Hum. I also do this thing with Jeff.
Yay!
Cool.
That's a great introduction.
Great.
JP, you want to give us a
Okay.
formal introduction to yourself?
Yeah. I'm JP Rhineflesh the Ninth. I guess I also do this thing. Are we gonna that's where we're ending
That's
it?
where we're ending. That's where
I
we
don't know,
are.
JP, I
Cool.
feel
This
like
thing.
you are like the voice of reason here. I feel like you should probably like tell people.
Okay. Hi. I'll introduce myself. I'm JP Rhineflesh the Ninth. I am a writer of things dark, strange, and queer. I also do productivity streams on Twitch, and I'm a dialogue doctor coach.
Yeah, you are. All right. That was great. Laura is also an editor extraordinaire and a dialogue doctor
Amazing
coach.
editor.
Fantastic editor extraordinaire.
Oh,
Um, and I am the clown that runs the circus ring. Um, that is my role.
you're also
Uh,
an author.
I'm going to be
Hmm.
I'm just going to warn y'all. It's the 200th episode. I'm going to be extremely self-conscious. Let's just go ahead and put that out here. I do not enjoy talking about myself. I do not enjoy talking about what we do in a positive way. So this was a I almost didn't do this episode. I was almost just like, we're just going to do another session during this episode. Just keep going.
We
So
contractually obliged you to do so.
that's right. You forced me into this.
Yep.
Wait, there's a contract?
Yeah, Laura, you
What?
signed it a while
Don't
ago.
What?
tell Laura.
What? What are you doing?
You're
Are
like,
you like having secret meetings without me signing contracts?
no. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so this is our 200th episode.
All right, so Jeff's gonna be self-conscious. I'm gonna be
Ugh.
paranoid. JP, what are you gonna be?
JP's
The
gonna
voice
follow
of
his
reason.
dreams.
The voice of reason, right? Oh, right, of course, obviously.
Okay, so we started the Dialogue Doctor, or I guess I started the Dialogue Doctor in August, 3 years and 10 months ago. This podcast began, which is feels like a long time, and we are on episode 200. So we decided to do a special episode today, and
I feel like there needs to be a song for special episode.
oh, don't. Why would you do that to my brain? Special
It's just the song in reverse.
episode,
There you
special
go. See, I knew it was
episode,
in there.
special episode. Yeah, so
200.
no, see, you ruined the song because now we can't use it for all of the other special episodes.
No,
Um,
you just replace the 200 with whatever the other special episode is. So that's how it works. You are doing the reprise and I'm doing the lead
ah,
vocals.
as always, your
That's
plans are
like
better than mine.
worse.
That's good. Um,
No, I just edited your plan.
so for today.
Sorry, JP.
No, it's fine. I'm just
JP's
judging.
like, what are you
Don't
talking about? I've been doing this
don't
for
worry
over
about
a
it.
year with you two yahoos.
Shaking her head.
Yeah. So we have 5 questions to talk through today to kind of help us reflect on Dialogue Doctor and talk about where Dialogue Doctor is going in the future. We also sent these questions out to the newsletter and the Dialoguers, the Dialogue Doctor Slack community. So we have some of their answers as well. And like almost 70 of them answered, which I was really impressed by.
Also, thank you all, anyone who's listening who
Mhm.
actually took time to fill out that survey. That really meant a lot to us that you think enough of us to take your time to give us some feedback. So.
Yeah, it was, especially since I sent it to you like 2 days before this recording. So to get 70 people in like, I think it was 3 days. To get 70 people in 3 days, that's impressive. Yeah. So let's do personal updates first, and then we'll jump into
that was not on my list of questions. Is that something else from a secret meeting that you and JP?
No, because it was his own meeting by himself.
So it was a very secret meeting.
Yes.
I had my own meeting by myself. No, I usually do personal updates on the podcast. I'm just doing the podcast start.
Awesome. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
sorry,
Laura's
we're totally derailing.
Laura's the only one not in Nerds merch today. Nerds
Mhm.
being the National Recently Deceased Services that JP and I write together. We didn't plan it though.
Again, you all had a secret meeting without me to discuss your Nerds merch.
That is true.
Nerds merch wearing. Yeah, no, I'm just going through the podcast order. So what I usually do, I record before y'all come on, is like, hey, if you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter. You can go to dialoguedoctor.com and click on the learning button. You can find the newsletter there, or all 200 podcast episodes are there for you to listen to. We would also love you to join the community. So just go to dialoguedoctor.com and click on the learning button. You can become part of the Dialoguer community. Or you can go to patreon.com/Jeff Elkins. Great things happen in the community. We've got a Slack group that goes on. We've got a twice a month we meet for a Zoom call where we do some lifelong learning stuff, reading short stories, looking at movies, all that kind of stuff. So come and join us in those things. We also have a ton of events coming up, but we'll talk about those at the end. We're going to talk about events for the spring in the end, or in the fall, events for the fall in the end. So now is the time where I do personal updates. So what's been going on in y'all's lives?
That was very good. You made it through all the way through that without any stumbles. It's like you do that regularly.
It's like I have done it 200 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Anything going on in y'all's lives?
I think you should start this one.
Yeah.
I should start. I can start.
You're the one who's practiced at this.
Here's my fun story for this week. One of our dialoguers actually said in the survey they like it when we talk about our lives because they find our lives encouraging.
No, I was so excited when someone was like, I love the random stuff you talk about, mostly writing. Yeah. I, of course, edited out the mostly writing and thought, they love it when we talk about random stuff.
They love it when we talk about random stuff. Do you remember the first episode you and I did together, Laura, where we talked for an hour and a half about our experiences working with inner city youth, and then we did like 40 minutes of dialogue stuff, and we got so many comments about please don't do that again, and yet here we are
200 episodes later. We're still doing it.
Sorry, Tom. Yeah, so that's so let's here's my fun thing today. So I've mentioned this on the podcast before. My daughter had a really rough time in sports in high school. She had some coaches, like, for example, she went out for her soccer team. She loved playing soccer, and the coach told her, don't try out. I already have my team picked, and you're not on it. And she tried out anyway. She's somewhat, from what we heard from other people that were there, she very much dominated the tryouts. There was one part where it was like you get to stay on the field until you lose this drill. And she held the championship of the drill for like 20 or 30 rounds, something like that. Like she just would not leave. And then in the end, he cut her anyway. He came up to her, he's like, I told you not to try out. And so he cut her. So
Good point.
she was really discouraged by it. She kind of like wrote off soccer. She's like, I guess I'll never play soccer again. She transferred to basketball. She's now playing basketball in college. She was at college. This is the story that I heard. There's been multiple versions of this story around. This is the one I heard. She was at college, kind of goofing around with a soccer ball before she went to do her basketball workout. And the soccer coach came up to her and said, Hey, we're 2 days into tryouts, but I'd love for you to come out. And she was like, okay. So she texted her basketball coach. She's like, could I play soccer too? And the coach was like, yeah, the seasons don't overlap. And she's like, great. So she went to try. She missed the first 2 days of trials. She went to the first day. She hasn't played soccer in 3.5 years. And they were like, we want you to be one of our starting defenders.
That is
So
amazing.
she is now on the
Take
soccer
that.
team. I don't know if there's a moral there. I think the moral maybe don't listen to the assholes. I think that may be the moral. But yeah, so she's walked onto the soccer team now as well.
Yeah,
Anyway,
That's amazing.
that,
that's
Congratulations.
fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was the fun. Been the fun news in our world. I'm also getting both of my college students back home soon. So we'll have another, we will go from a 5-person house to a 7-person house again here in the next couple weeks because they are both coming home from the summer. So we're gonna have Crazy House again soon. But yeah, which I love. I love Crazy House, but Crazy House is coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about y'all? What's happening in y'all's life?
Again, I don't know that I can follow that.
You made me go first.
Well, I know, but I didn't realize you were going to have this like hero story for your daughter and your children all coming home.
Do you want me to tell a
Thinking you're
failure
going to
story? I can
have
tell a failure story too. I
No,
can
because
tell a
then we
sad
have to
story.
follow that up too.
200 episodes. We only celebrate.
Tell that one when we're not here.
All right. Anything? Y'all got anything? We can just go to the
I got
questions if you don't.
JP, go for it.
sure. So I think in like 2 weeks will be 1 year that I have been streaming on Twitch.
Wow.
Um, which has been really fun and wild. Before I had started, I was actually like joining a lot of like productivity streams, and really like the difference between a writing room on Zoom and Twitch is that I'm the only one on camera. I have like a bunch of overlays so that people can add in tasks and like see the timer, and then we chat and chat. And like if you watch me, you get these little points. You can spend points on ridiculous things. So, yeah, it's been a really fun experience. I when I started, I got like really good positive feedback because I was one of the few streamers that was at that time slot. So like a lot of people wanted the same thing I did, which is why I started at that time because I realized no one was there. But yeah, 1 year in 2 weeks, and then I'll be having like fun games and like giveaway stuff. But one of the funny things that ended up happening out over a year, we've been joking about like me writing smut as like a silly thing. And it became one of the most expensive channel point redeems of like 42,000 points. And I have 3 that I have to write. And so it's just been
Nice.
this joke of like every once in a while I have to be writing smut. And so everyone is aware of it. And I'm just sitting there like, do.
I'm very excited for you live writing smut. That sounds
It's great.
yeah. That sounds incredibly uncomfortable for you, which makes it extremely entertaining for the rest of us.
Well, I mean, like I wear a onesie on stream. I already like I tried
This
to
is
make it as
awesome.
ridiculous as possible.
I am very sad now that I've never come to your stream. I want to come
Well,
and see
there you go.
is it the rabbit onesie?
No, it is a Cheshire Cat onesie because
Okay.
my um tag on Twitch is Cheshire Pope because one of my nicknames in college was Cheshire, which was ruled out after they couldn't call me Pope because of certain rules. So I ended up with Cheshire Pope.
Why was your nickname in college Cheshire?
So in college, I was in a fraternity, so that we throw that out there. And originally they were going to nickname me Pope because everyone gets a nickname, but our president of the fraternity's name was Bishop, and I couldn't supersede them. So then when they talked about it, they realized I go to a lot of parties, and I will either be on one end of the party and appear on the other end with no one knowing how I got there, or I just vanish and I will not return to the party. And so it became this thing where my nickname was Cheshire because I often vanished.
Nice. That's amazing. I
I
love
love
that.
that, but now I want to know why your nickname was going to be Pope.
JP stands for a dead pope.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Oh,
There, yep,
gotcha.
there we go.
Okay. It took me a
Yeah,
minute. I was like,
you got
there's
there.
no Pope named JP. But then I got yeah, took me a second. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Laura still doesn't have it yet.
I have
She'll
no
get
idea.
it. She'll get it. Laura, what's been going on in your world?
I'll Google it later.
Yeah. Now you're sad you have to follow JP, right? You should have followed me.
I mean, I don't know. Like I don't ever know how to do an update because like everything is always the same,
Okay,
which
that's fair.
I actually think is a really good thing. Um, I did recently, just within like the last 4 weeks, win therapy. So
Nice. Way to
yeah,
go.
yes, I did. I don't know how many, I don't talk about it often, but for about a year, I was really struggling with everything, like finding motivation. Like if I didn't have a deadline for something, nothing
Hmm.
was getting done. And self-imposed deadlines were they were a joke. Like I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna set this deadline. And I guess there was like an internal game of like, how long can I actually hold that internal deadline before I just laugh at it? And so I got back into therapy, and my therapist was fantastic. She really did want to talk about my need to make everything a competition, but I was like, no, I don't really care about that. That actually is a really successful technique for me. Though when I told Jason that my therapist wanted to talk about it, he's like, "Yes, please talk about that." I was like, "No, what?" So anyway, I finally got to the point where like I feel like myself again, and I can like move forward. And so I decided that I won therapy.
That's amazing.
Yay.
So because everything's a
Yeah.
competition, so that felt really good.
I'm gonna
And
have to buy you a trophy now.
I know I
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everything deserves a trophy. I feel
Yeah.
like I should have a whole wall full of trophies. In fact, that's why I use a virtual background, because like that whole wall back there is actually trophies for like,
Yeah.
just
We appreciate
ridiculous.
it. It's intimidating when you put your trophy wall up on a
Right,
podcast because we're
Yeah.
like, damn.
right.
So it's
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
yeah. But when you get a trophy for like the best napper and best online shopper, winner of therapy, really, how intimidating is that?
Very,
So,
very.
Those are very
so
intimidating.
yeah, so that was my big, I would say my big like breakthrough. I don't know, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the next year of, like we're talking about what we're gonna do in the fall, and it doesn't feel as crushing and overwhelming as it did in the past. So I
Mhm.
would say that's my big update.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thanks.
Yay.
Thanks.
Yay.
Good.
Thank you for giving personal updates, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta stop saying guys. I really gotta remove that from my vocabulary. It's really bad. Okay.
Peeps.
What'd you say?
Peeps.
Peeps. Peeps. But then I picture you as like little sugar filled like
What's wrong with this?
chickens.
Yes,
What's wrong?
not
What's
chickens,
wrong with
bunnies.
that?
Yellow bunnies.
Bunnies.
Yellow
Yellow
bunnies.
bunnies.
What
Not even the
what
purple
is wrong with
bunnies.
that?
You love
No,
purple.
only the yellow. The purple, the pink, and the blue, the food coloring they use is very acidic.
Oh,
No, it's the yellow, and you have to eat the bunnies because they have the best sugar to marshmallow ratio.
okay.
The chicks, the marshmallow is overly marshmallowy in comparison to the amount of sugar. So
Gotcha.
the yellow bunnies are the perfect piece.
JP, I don't know if you know this about Laura, but she has a lot of food rules and she is a food
That's
expert
fine.
on
That's
how
fine.
food should be eaten.
I am a
They
food
have
expert for
gelatin, so I can't have
myself.
them.
I do not think that
Really?
other people should adhere to my food insanities.
That's fair.
Why can't you eat gelatin?
Because I'm vegan and gelatin is not vegan.
Really?
Have
I'm
you
totally, I have no idea.
have
I
you
just
made
put the food in my
marshmallows
mouth hole.
with chickpea water? Aquafaba.
Um, I've made it before. I don't like the flavor too much, and
Mm,
like they have vegan marshmallows. They're
yeah.
delicious. I just go get them.
Yeah,
Okay.
kosher
Someone else can make it for me.
yeah, kosher marshmallows. I I've had them, but since I've eaten marshmallows my entire life, I think that the kosher or the vegan ones taste different. So,
But yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
guess if you only ate them, you wouldn't know. But I'm
I can
very
lie to myself. It's good.
excited about the idea that you can make marshmallows with aquafaba. I haven't done it yet because that would require me to do it. But I did
That's how
make
I
black
feel.
bean brownies this week.
Black bean brownies are
Oh,
delicious,
They
as
were
are sweet potato brownies.
surprisingly good. I
wow.
haven't tried sweet potato ones yet. If you have a good recipe, you can send it my way. But
No, someone
um,
else made it for me.
all right, if your friend who makes them for you is willing to share their recipe, but yeah, I made Jason eat one before I told him what they were. So they're very fudgy.
Yeah, yeah. It's surprising. No black bean flavor.
Yeah,
Delicious.
it really it's
Anyways,
very
yeah.
interesting.
I'm learning so much right now. These are none of these things I have tried.
Yeah.
I will
I've
have to try them.
had to try a whole bunch of new recipes recently because my food allergies are like going crazy. So I've been just trying all kinds of different,
Nice.
yeah. Not that my food allergies have made brownies not okay, but I came across a black bean brownie recipe and I was like, hey, let's give it a
Worth
try.
a try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much to my family's dismay, I like trying new things just to try them. And my family would be like, "What is this?" I'll be like, "I tried something new today, and we're gonna eat it." And like, you know, 4 times out of 10, it's really bad. Um, four
Hey,
times out of
you
10,
know
the kids
what?
are like, "Can we order pizza?" I'm like, "No, eat it." Yeah.
Okay. What was the craziest thing you've ever made?
Oh, I can't answer that. I can answer the craziest thing I made last week.
Okay. What's the craziest
I
thing you've tried?
decided to saute fennel, onions, garlic, and potatoes. Um, and the fennel was 2 full fennel bulbs was too much.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah,
very overpowering. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That was the weird.
Those
That
are
was
good
the
though.
like experimental thing this week that I did. I sauteed fennel, onions, potatoes, and garlic in a pan, and then like it was also very weird because all of those are white. Like I'm big into like
Yeah.
food colors. I like foods to be different colors. It came out as just like a big white mush. And that
Mm.
my kids were like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Eat it." And they were like, "Why does it taste weirdly of burnt licorice?" And I was like, "You like it?" And they were like, "We don't." So
You almost need like one bulb of fennel, one bulb of like a sweet onion, garlic, potato.
yeah, I went the
All of them
other
are
Maybe a
white
way.
red
still, but
pepper.
I had 2 bulbs of fennel. I had 2 leftover potatoes. This was stuff that like I was just like, I have leftover things. Let's put
Oh,
them all into a pan. I had two
yeah.
leftover potatoes. I had half of an onion. And I had like 1 bulb of garlic that had already sprouted the like green thing. Like I could have planted it and grown it as a tree because garlic grows into
I
trees.
don't think it's a
Mm.
It
tree,
grows
but
into a tree.
okay.
It's a tree.
That's not what it
Um,
says, but
Garlic
that's okay.
tree. Jeff grows garlic trees.
but so yeah, I was not.
Yeah, the
It was
trusted
not great.
muffin tree.
Um,
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever eaten fennel, and I don't think I could.
ugh. It's fun. It's not fun. It's a weird plant. Um, all right, let's talk about dialogue doctor stuff. We
Yes.
have been doing this for first question. We have been doing this for well, me for 3.5 years, y'all for close to that. Um, what JP's been on for like a year, but we're just gonna pretend that he's been here the
Hi,
whole time.
JP.
I've been
Um,
here the whole time.
he's been here the whole time. JP's been a coach for a year. You've been part of the community since the beginning.
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
all right. In our time doing the dialogue doctor, what have you learned? What's been a learning from the dialogue doctor? Do you want me to do the community replies first while you think about your answer?
No, I thought about my answer.
Oh wow. Okay, great.
You
Go
sent
ahead.
us the questions.
That
I
doesn't
had
mean I thought
time.
about my answers.
I had to prepare.
I'm impressed. All right, go for it. What have you learned?
I have learned so much. It's hard to like talk about everything that I've learned. Um, so what I have learned is the amount of dedication it takes to be an author, especially for people who are not an author full time, right? Like you have your jobs and you have your lives, and then you have to find time to be an author. Like the amount of just dedication is just all inspiring. So I've learned that. I've
Nice.
learned a lot about like story construction. Because I I was a reader, so I just read stories. I didn't think about them. I didn't dissect them. I didn't break them down. I didn't think about what makes a good story. I just enjoyed the stories. So I've learned a ton about that. Um, and I think of for learning what I learned about myself from being part of the community is that I actually have valuable stuff to contribute, even though I'm not a fiction author. As an editor, I do, because Jeff, when you first asked me to do this with you, I don't know if you remember, I was like, why? Why
Yeah.
do you want me to do this with you? I
And I
don't know
told you
about
because you're
writing.
brilliant and you have great things to say.
Well, yeah, but then I was just like, whatever, you don't actually know. So, but I do like I have like my understanding of my own knowledge, I think has grown a lot. So I've learned
Nice.
about the community, I've learned about writing, and I've learned about myself. So
I love that.
follow
Hmm.
that.
No. Um, Fine, I will. Uh, I think that I've learned within this community and the communities before is like this encouragement and challenge to continuously learn through breaking things apart, like trying to figure out story structure, being asked like certain questions within like office hours that really challenge me to think about it. And I'm someone who refuses to say that like I've learned it all. And so if I were sitting in, I don't know, like a Discord group or something where there's too much noise and there aren't these moments that we have with these like um office hours and Zoom calls and other conversations where we can have like a conversation and challenge each other. If I didn't have that, uh, I don't think I would learn as much as I feel like I have within this group.
That's nice. Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Um, I think I've had two big like learnings from being, I mean, there's it's like both of you are saying, there's 1,000 things I've learned about writing and story structure. And I find that I learn a ton when I'm given a problem to solve. It's just part of the way
Mhm.
my brain works. So I think the best thing about Dialogue Doctor for me has been editing, people giving me their work and being like, hey, can you help me make this work better? And so that's, I've learned so much from that. But I think personally, I 3.5 years ago, I was a very different person, like just in a very different emotional space. In a very unhealthy emotional space. And so I would say the Dialogue Doctor really is the first thing I've done that has professionally that's made me go like, hey, I have value to offer people. And that's been a big, like, life changing, life understanding thing. Like I remember when I was actually sitting here and I was trying to figure out how to explain character voice. And I remember drawing a picture of a daisy and being like, that's it. Um, Being like, wow, I actually have something to offer people. And it was an important moment for me to be like, no, there is quality, like I do have value. So that's been a big learning thing for me. And then I think the other learning thing is I think I tried writing by myself for so long, like just I'm gonna do this alone. I'm not going to be part of a community. I'm not going to be. And I kind of was kind of half in a community before Dialogue Doctor, but I think another thing I've learned is how much writing is a team sport and how even
Mhm.
if you're writing a solo novel, you have to have a community of people around you. It's not a thing anyone does alone. And the like image I think we used to have, maybe some people still have, of like the author that goes out into the woods by themselves at a cabin and has this like moment of isolated genius is just not true. That's just not, I mean, I'm sure there are outliers that do that, but that's the majority of us. We need a community where we're talking about this, where we're processing things together, where we're sharing our work, where we're, learning from one another and just finding general encouragement and inspiration to keep going. So I think that's that's been a big learning for me too. Anything else y'all want to add before we look at the community answers? I gave the community, I think I gave them 10. Let me see. I gave them our 10 most kind of, because we've defined a ton of concepts. Like that's something I love that we do is we don't just give people like advice based on like past things. We actually try to create new tools and new ways of thinking for people. I think it's a beautiful thing that we've done as coaches. And I listed out 9 concepts that we've like come up with over the last 3.5 years. And I asked them to say like, hey, which of these has been the most helpful for you? And I thought this was really interesting. 2 tied, which was fascinating to me. The dialogue daisy / like character voice, the 5 components of character voice, tied with vehicles, engines, anchors, and hazards, which was shocking to me. I didn't think there was any way those would tie. I really thought the daisy would like blow out vehicles, engines, anchors, and hazards. I still kind of think of vehicles, engines, anchors, and hazards as something that like maybe only the 3 of us actually talk about. And everybody else is like, I wish they'd stop talking about that. And then story hypothesis, JP's amazing book and concept on theme and character growth came in second, which was great. And then the next 2 kind of quasi tied, no, they flat out tied, was dialogue centric writing and seeing your book as a journey, an emotional journey the reader's taking. So I was excited. It was nice to know that like I left on there like, I don't know, I just kind of like it as like an option so that people would be like, none of this actually helped me and I don't want to hurt your feelings. And very few people chose that. So that was a nice, it was nice to see people being like, no, these are the ones that actually helped me. Anyway, any thoughts on learnings and what's come out of the community and anything else before we move on to?
No, I just think it's really, again, going back to that, like we do have something valuable. It's not just us hanging out, talking to each other on a podcast. If people love the randomness of ourselves in our life, I appreciate, again, people taking the time to answer this question to help validate like, yeah, we're on the right track here. So
yeah.
thanks, listeners.
And I like too that we look to make tools and sort of like trial them out, see what things work and which things stick. Like the editing structure that we introduced during the last dash, like the amount of positive feedback from the dashers during that time of just like, oh, this is amazing. I think that shows that we are continuously looking at ways to break down and restructure story in ways that help people learn and understand. And I really like that about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also say I'm very appreciative of you two because it would be very easy for both of you to get like territorial over thoughts that you have of like, no, this is my thought. Please don't, just throw it into the mix of this pot of crazy ideas. So I appreciate you two taking on that like mantle of we build tools for people. Like that's really that's you two are very special in that way. I appreciate that. Okay, question 2. We've had a lot of different experiences as Dialogue Doctor coaches. What moment stands out to you as your favorite experience as a Dialogue Doctor coach?
Oh wait, you just changed the question.
I did. I was hoping you'd notice.
You changed the question. See,
I'm just kidding.
You cannot change a question on an editor. An editor will know. The question.
I was changing the question mid-sentence, I was like, I hope Laura freaks out about this.
Okay, so the question you asked was, of all the things we do, what's your favorite experience?
I know that's a
That
moment
is
in
a
there on the
general.
fly.
Now you want me to find one moment
Specific
over
moments.
the
No, I
last
don't. What's your
It was
favorite
a
experience?
Tuesday, late
10
into the
months.
evening.
Would you say, JP?
Just being stupid.
Well, I know it, but I want to be let in on the joke.
Yeah, you have to say it again
It was
and
a
do the voice.
Tuesday. It was a
You're not
Tuesday, late into the evening.
nice.
April 24th.
This,
April
this is
25th.
the most
It's the
perfect day.
perfect date. It's
What's
not
the
too
perfect
hot,
day?
not too cold. All you need to do is wear a light jacket.
Oh, all right. What's the favorite thing that favorite experience? What's your favorite experience?
Oh, so now you do want it to be experience and
You
not
can
moment.
answer the question however you want. I love that you're making a big deal out of this as if you're going to answer the question I give you anyway.
I am going to answer the question because again, I prepared. I did my homework.
I'm very impressed. I
But I
didn't.
did my
I
homework.
asked these questions and I'm coming up with my answers on the fly.
So mine was the dash.
Nice. Way to go, JP. Pull us back.
I'm
Again,
just
voice of
gonna
reason.
Voice
just
of
gonna
Voice of
just
reason.
gonna jump right in there. Um, Specifically, I really liked the first portion where we did the webinars weekly, and we had like more touch points with people. Of course, I loved the other portions of it. For me in the fall when we did the writing section, like I was doing a ton of day job stuff, so that's partly like what impacted my involvement. But I think that that was one of my favorite experiences, and that's why I love that we're doing it again for the spring and that we're focusing on doing it again for fall, because I think that it functions as an alternative to NaNoWriMo while still creating that community that people are looking for. And I think that there is an energy to it that I just really enjoy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you need another minute to think of your answer?
No, I have my answer. I
Okay,
know
go
what I'm
for
going to
it.
say.
I'll go last time.
Okay, great. My favorite moments as a dialogue doctor coach are when I've been working with somebody, because we do like multiple types of, if people don't know this, we do multiple types of coaching. We do one off. We're just going to do a one-on-one session with you. One thing we have done group sessions in the past where like Laura and I will both work on somebody's character voice. We haven't really done those in a while, but we also do, like a pack of 4 where you can like get 4. And there's some people that I've worked with like really on their whole book. Like we've gone through their whole. And I've done a couple full manuscripts where you just give me, I usually do 30,000 words at a time. My favorite moment in all of those types of sessions though is when I've been working with somebody more than once and I find something in their manuscript that I know they've struggled with in the past and that they're really killing. And my favorite moment is to get on the coaching call with them and be like, hey, I want to take a second and point out to you this thing right here. This is, you crushed it and it's really good and you've struggled with it before. And I really like it when I can see authors like finding their own voice and like taking control of their work and coming to understand what they do. I think that's my favorite moment as a dialogue doctor coach, is those moments where I can see people coming to understand the tools they have, how to use them, and like creating the story they want to create in a really like unique and beautiful way. I think that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to answer both questions.
Oh,
experience and moment.
Nice.
But they are very similar to what you both talked about. So my favorite experience is the office hours that we've put with the dash. What I really like about it is that it's not just a teaching time. It's not just a podcast. It's not just like a one-on-one. It's the community coming together and talking about, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm struggling with. What do you think? What kind of advice do you have? It's kind of what we created in the Slack, but it's so immediate. I feel like Slack can often be like somebody puts a question up and then 2 or 3 days later somebody answers, and then a day after that somebody else answers. It isn't, you don't have kind of the immediacy of the community that we do in the office hours. So, and I appreciate how like we each kind of have because of the time we do them, we each kind of have a different community in our office hour, just because it works better for different people. And I just like to see how the different dynamics come together and play together. I'm really appreciative of that. So, but as far as like my favorite moments, similar to Jeff, my favorite moment is when someone works on a scene and I give them feedback and they write it again and they send it back to me and they're like, okay, tell me what else needs to change. And I read it and I'm like, I I can't have another session with you about this because there's nothing that you should change. It just that moment where you read somebody's work and it's publish ready.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's just so neat to watch an author get to a place where, especially an author who's doing it as, somebody who's never published before, or somebody who maybe has published before but hasn't really like felt strong in themselves as an author, to be able to go, don't change it. It's ready. Take
Mm,
it. So I just love those moments.
that's awesome.
So
Yeah, I'm going to add one too. Laura, we did last year our first in-person conference, which was really
mhm.
Laura's. It was your brainchild and like hard work to make that happen. And there was a really fun moment where, several moments, but like fun moments where we were just hanging out, and people that we had known online and through the Dialogue Doctor community for years, we
Yeah.
actually got to hang out with in person. And that was very cool. I'm thinking specifically we were at a bar, the hotel bar one night hanging out, and it was super fun. And Wendy, my wife, was there being her like full extroverted self, having a fantastic time, kind of dominating the space. And our relationships works because I'm an introvert who likes people and she's an extrovert who loves people. So it's like I get to sit and watch her go, and that was really great to see like the two worlds combine, which was really fun. That was a neat moment. Um, yeah. Any others y'all want to add?
I mean, I think if you let me, I'll just keep going for like 5 hours and then people will complain. So,
That's all right. Whatever. We're talking about dialogue stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I asked the community, I was like, over the 3 years, we've done a lot of things. Which of the following are more helpful to you? And I listed out like everything I think that we've done. And it was again, I was surprised by the answers. The podcast was the number one with a bullet thing that we do that people have found helpful, which feels good. I was surprised by that because, believe it or not, more people read the newsletter than listen to the podcast, which is has always been interesting to me. But the podcast was number one. The Dialogue Doctor Will See You Now book was number two. One-on-one coaching sessions we've done with people was number three. And then the newsletter and the dash kind of tied for number four. But yeah, so those are the things the community has found super helpful, which I thought was great. All right. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next question? Question 3. What about the community do you look forward to?
Okay, I'll talk.
I was
Well, I
I
really
was actually
love
sitting here going like, what did I mean by that question? So
I don't
I'm
either,
excited to hear
but
how you
I'm
answer
just
it.
gonna talk and answer it the way I want to. Um, it's gonna come back to the office hours, right? Because it's the ability to talk in a collective, um, and be able to have some type of like Q&A that is facilitated. So when there's multiple people in the like in a conversation, it's really fun to see other dialoguers like talk to each other or maybe offer suggestions and sort of see the work that we've put out there, the information we've put out there at play as they help each other. And so it's really fun to sort of sit back sometimes and just let them talk it out. So I really like those office hours. This may or may not be something that might be fun to do outside of the dash every once in a while. So yeah,
Yeah.
I was
I
thinking that too, JP.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
We're
it's
both
great.
like,
I love that.
yeah, but also, yeah.
Yeah, but also time. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I'm just to piggyback off what you're saying. I'm highly impressed by the quality of people in our community. We have fantastic, serious, like I want to learn more and I'm taking the craft very seriously, writers in the community, which is amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Laura, you want to go next?
Yeah, you can go next.
Okay. The thing that I look forward to most, this is going to be a little sappy, but I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of talking. Um, I really like it when you two do podcast episodes. Why are you guys laughing? What? You don't laugh at me.
Because we have to listen to you.
That's
You know how much JP's too nice to say it. I will come right out and say it.
I was going to say something nice about you. I'm going to take it back now.
Good.
No, I'm just kidding.
Good. Take it back. I don't like it. I like to hear nice stuff.
Yeah, no, I
Tell
was
me
going to
all
say
the nice things, please. Thank you.
I really like it when y'all do episodes or when we're doing a master class together and it's y'all's turn to just talk because I feel like I learn something every time you two teach. So that is something I really look forward to when you two teach. I'm like I feel like I am challenged as a coach and a writer when I listen to you two work. So that makes me really happy.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is that way?
Wow.
Is that way if you're publicly asking us to do more work?
No. No.
I really like that
I'm
I
shocked
can
as what y'all do. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I really like that I can send you a message and just be like, "Hey, I want to interview this person," and put it on the podcast. You're just like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'm like, please. That sounds great. Please interview that person. It's amazing. Um, yeah, Laura, you're up.
Okay. So the thing that I look forward to the most is hearing all the stories that you all are writing. You all have heard me say before, I don't write fiction because I can't create. I can recreate, I can mimic, I can edit, I can make things better, I can combine ideas that exist in the world already, but I can't create out of nothing. I've never been able to do it. And I'm so all inspired by talking to the authors in the community who not they don't you don't you all don't just have stories, you have entire worlds in your head. Like there's so much, and are also excited and so positive about telling your story and putting it out into the world. And it's just so exciting to kind of hear all the the different genres and the different stories and the different characters and the different backgrounds, and that just like you will create out of nothing. It's just so exciting for me. That's the thing that I look forward to the most, is like, especially like when we start a new dash and we get a whole new group of people who are talking about a whole new group of stories, or when somebody's finishing up a story and they're talking about their next story. Don't get me wrong, I love working with people through their whole book and being able to see an entire story come together from start to finish. I think that's great. But there is something like refreshing about, oh, let me tell you about this new story, let me tell you about this new thing, that I think is just because I get to have a whole bunch of new friends when you all introduce me to your characters and your storylines, right? Like that's why we all read books as kids, right? So we could have friends.
100%.
That is correct.
I love that. Okay, so I asked the community this question a little bit differently. I said, the flagship of the community has always been the podcast. If you listen to the podcast, which of the following episode types have been the most helpful for you? And pretty much very closely tied by one vote, which again, just surprised me, is the editing sessions we do. That didn't surprise me because that's kind of what we do. And then, but coming in on like strong second, one vote behind was the solo episodes that focus on teaching, which was surprised me. And then number 3 was surprising me too, which are the grand rounds, which are those in-depth interviews that we've done. Surprised me too. And we can talk about this when we get to like more what we want to do more of in the future. We get a lot of requests to like do more interviews, and they're really hard for me. They're like because I feel like I need to do so much obsessive research before we do that.
I love interviews.
I know you're really good at them too. So we might start just a JP interviews people segment. We can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking in a minute is now. Now is in a minute.
No.
What's something you hope we will do in the future? What are you looking forward to? Do you want me? I could read the
Yes.
other people's stuff first. This one feels like a good time to let them go first. I can't read all of them. There are like 60 answers to this, so I've kind of grouped them into like, some common threads. Um, Workshops with multiple dates or workshops with separate dates for Q&A. More master classes! Exclamation point. Anything with an exclamation point, by the way, I'm gonna scream. If the dash will continue. Oh, I hope that I read that completely wrong. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's because I can't read. I hope the dash will continue. I'm currently in a different writing course, but I hope to dash after I finish it. The dash will continue. I think discussions about, so that's kind of the first group. Then we have, I think discussions about why authors or writers, especially fiction, are actually important to careers compared to other jobs. What do writers achieve in the grand scheme of things, and why does it matter? Another person said more close reading of novels and short stories. Another person said maybe get more industry guests on the podcast to discuss business in addition to craft from a trad or indie scene. There have been a few, but I'd like more insights from people who are working with writers. Again, I'm telling you, like I always am tripped out when people are like more interviews. Somebody said, I wouldn't mind seeing an episode where you start with a generic conversation between two characters and then edit it so that each one has a different personality and dialogue style. After that,
really
maybe
loved that one.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
That's a Laura episode.
That was I saw that. I was like, oh, that could be so much fun.
Yeah, we'll definitely put that on the calendar.
For Laura.
That's
okay,
right.
Okay, JP, I hear you.
And
but
to pull this off, really all we have to do is give Laura like something I wrote. And she'll be like, okay.
Perfect.
Let's fix this crap.
But that means that I don't have to interview any strangers.
That's
perfect.
Like the idea of interviewing a stranger is completely terrifying to me.
It's really funny. We could call this segment Jeff gives Laura bad writing. And just
perfect.
Let Laura fix it.
That honestly sounds great.
Yeah. So the next one, examples of how to build character voice from scratch, is another one, which we've done in the past, but it's been a while. We haven't. I realized doing this like survey of things and thinking about what we've done. I'm like, man, we've really kind of moved in phases through a lot of things. We talk a lot about cast right now. We used to talk a lot about voice. I think part of it is just what the problems we're solving with the community. We like tend to focus on what the community wants to talk about, but yeah. Interviews with writers or professionals in the industry, people who published perhaps. That was another one. That one's longer, but I'm not gonna. It gets the personal, so I'm not gonna read it anymore. It's a great comment though. You just have to imagine what it says. More information on how to distinguish character voices in dialogue, active ways a dialogue character to divulge a character's thoughts and feelings, do's and don'ts. For using physical gestures to communicate is another thoughtful one. And then these are just some more fun ones. Selfishly, more free coaching sessions for the podcast, which I got to say, if I were like John Grisham and I was like making enough money off of my fiction, I would literally do all coaching sessions.
100%.
I would just do this for free.
If I was independently wealthy and didn't have to have a day job, I would offer free sessions all the time.
Oh, I would just do everything. I'd be like, yeah, give me your book.
Speaking of, we do have a Patreon that you can check out for dialogue.
Again,
if you want to empower free sessions, if you want to free us up to do more free sessions, yeah. So more free articles, yeah, totally into more free articles. I really like doing that. Although sometimes I feel weird because like I'll do a talk somewhere that somebody paid me for, and then I'll like give the PowerPoint away for free on the newsletter, and I always feel weird doing that. I'm like, is this ethically okay? It's fine. And then my last two favorites were, this one was definitely written by JP. More of everything, maybe more books. That's 100% your comment. You're the one that's always pushing us to write more books. So that's 100%.
My comment has nothing to do about that.
And then my favorite one was more puppetry and blacksmithing. That was my.
I figured you'd like that one. I saw that one. I was like, Jeff is going to read this one. Also, if your comment didn't get read out loud, we did read it. We took it to heart. Thank you. But
I loved all of them.
We have so much time to say them all. So
they're all amazing.
Again. for your comments.
I actually in this section about what we want in the future, I actually really went through them in detail and like made lists and notes, and they're actually very important to us.
Good.
All right, for you two, what's something you hope we'll do in the future?
I'll go first this time.
Yeah.
I would love to do more in-person events. Again, if we were independently wealthy, I would like us to do, 2 or 3 a year where we could just get together in different parts of the country, maybe different parts of the world, because we do have a lot of people who are coming to us from different places around the world, which I think is really, again, so humbling to know that people like get up early or stay up late to listen to what we have to say. I think that's great. But there is something really different about connecting with people in person than on Zoom. Zoom is fantastic. It allows us, like I said, to connect with people everywhere. But there is something different about not having every minute scheduled and being able to just, grab a cup of coffee with somebody, take a walk somewhere, and just kind of talk about stuff that's going on. Because so many of those just random conversations can really impact what we work on, to put into the community. Surveys are great, but they aren't always just like off the cuff. A lot of people put a lot of thought into a survey. I mean, I never do. I always just write, no, that's not true. I do pay attention to surveys, but like, I just think that there is something really neat about pulling people together. So I would love for us to do that at some point again in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that because that was actually one of my answers. I haven't, and I don't think maybe I've talked to y'all about this. I don't even know. One of my dreams for the Dialogue Doctor since, Laura, I know you and I have talked about this, since we started, was when I worked in church world, we would go to these giant conferences that were like hugely produced with like amazing, inspiring music, and like the speakers were just incredible, and it was like
clowns on stilts.
And you would leave. It was like, yeah, they're clowns on stilts when you're
clowns on stilts.
Or clowns on stilts. That was kind of scary, actually. It's like, why are there clowns out here?
Yes, I hid from them.
In retrospect, it makes perfect sense at a church conference to be full of clowns. Sorry, that was mean. Go listen to my other podcast, the Tacos Podcast, to tell you all about that. But yeah, so I really want to. I've had a dream for 3 years now that we'd be able to create that type of conference for writers, that like the goal of those conferences were like, you're going to come here, you're going to have an experience that's going to inspire your work for a year. And that was kind of the thing. We're just not big enough yet. Our community isn't large enough to pull that off yet. And we need to really triple in size that we are right now before we can get to that space. But I do have a dream of someday having a yearly conference that's like a couple thousand people, and we're getting like, people like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Let's get that dude on stage and talk to him about how he writes, like stuff like, kind of great authors of our time. We'll get Friedrich Bachmann up there, and maybe, I don't know if he needs a translator or not. Probably not. He probably speaks perfect English. But we'll get him. Well, people that like, yeah, that's one of my dreams for the future. We're a long ways off from being able to pull that off, but that's definitely like something in the back of my head. Yeah. Laura, did you have any more? I cut you off.
Patreon plug, so that we can do this big conference that
apparently
corporate
you want to join the
sponsorship?
Patreon super tier of
That's
sponsorship.
JP, have I ever told you about my giant mega conference dream before?
No, that's the first time, and
Okay.
that's
I
a
don't
lot
talk
of
about
people.
It is, yeah. But I love the idea of like, kind of super conference type thing. That's yeah.
I like that your idea of the super conference isn't just Dialogue Doctor, it's other community leaders, advocates, right? Like people who have experience beyond just us. And I think that that's something that I love about our community, is that we really kind of celebrate that there are other people and other groups who are successful in doing this. We just offer different kinds of tools. So the idea of a mega conference that isn't just the three of us talking for 3 days is very appealing to me. Because again, I think that there's something about always having the opportunity to learn from somebody new that I really love and appreciate.
Yeah, I mean that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing that we do is that I get to learn. I feel like I learn every day doing the Dialogue Doctor, and that's part of what like really excites me about it, and how I know like if I was independently wealthy, I would actually still be doing this because I like, and I would just pay for the conference out of my pocket. I just feel like this is what we're doing now. But yeah, so I need a billion. If we could have a billionaire backer, if there's a billionaire backer in the house,
I see a lottery pool happening. All of us pooling our money and playing the lottery every
year, trying to get the conference going.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, if there's like, if there's a billionaire listening to this, I will let you have his speaking slot. Depending on who you are, I might put you like in the back in a room alone. But we'll let you. I'm just kidding. That was a terrible thing to say. I was thinking like, what if Elon Musk is listening to this and he's like, I'm a billionaire? I'd be like, oh yeah, you can talk in the back of the room by yourself. Anyway, sorry. I mean, this is taking a weird turn. Somebody else talk.
I want to see how long you're gonna
I want to see how deep of the hole you can dig yourself in.
So
this is the last
there is no bottom.
Elon Musk, if you are listening, we will
take your money.
We will take your money.
Oh, we'll let you. Sure, but we'll take your money.
Yeah, we'll let you speak. We will fill your room.
Oh, can I tell you? I've had nightmares this week because I emailed a mentor recently with a question, and I was like, "Hey, man, I have a question. Can you answer the question for me?"
Nightmare? You were sending the email, or
no? I really sent the email. And I was like, "Hey, I have a question for you. Can you answer this question for me about like a next step I should take as an author?" And he writes me and he goes, "Hey, we need to talk about that in person. Do you have 30 minutes to talk today?" And I was like, my immediate thought was like, oh shit, I've said something that's gotten me canceled. I was just like, what is he gonna? I was like, oh no, he's gonna get me on the phone. He's gonna be like, hey, yeah, remember that thing you said? You're done. So I was like, oh no. So, but yeah, that has been my nightmare all week because I've been really. It wasn't. He was like talking to me about something else completely, but his advice was fantastic. You know who you are. But yeah, that was my terror, was that I had like said something really stupid. Anyway, I apologize for any stupid things I say on this episode or in the future of this episode.
But not the past. You're not going to apologize for your past.
I already have. I apologize daily for everything that I say. JP, what about you? What are your hopes for the future?
Okay. So I really liked just unload all of this information at you. I really liked what we did with the mastermind. I think that there's more place to grow with that. I think our next plan is something that has a bit more depth and meat to it. And I really like what you two are talking about in-person events. And one of the things that like I tell people about an event that I've gone to in the past that is no longer run, and they always are desperate for that. And I think that we have the ability to fill that space. And it's small, tiny little masterminds, weekend long, and we craft an anthology around it. Where during that weekend, we build a world, we put all of the framework in place, and then we spend a long time focusing on character and how to get voice on page in a short story. And then we set them free and we say, you write us the story, we'll get you in this anthology, we'll publish it, and then we can put proceeds back into the next event, into more Dialogue Doctor things. But I think that doing something like that, it is a gap that I hear a ton of people desperate for. And I think now that more and more things, more people are comfortable with meeting in person, that it's something that is a viable thing that we could go towards. That isn't 1,000 people right out of the bat, Jeff.
I love that. I love that vision. That's very beautiful. We need to make that happen. Yeah.
Noted.
That's great. Yeah. Anything else we've been looking forward to that we haven't talked about? No. Yes. I'm actually looking forward to, this is a weird one. I've only ever done like 3 full manuscripts in my career, in my 3.5 years as an editor. And I'm doing one right now, and it's really great. I'm really looking forward to doing more. I'm finding that, like, you know what? I actually, because I didn't used to do them because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer to somebody's full manuscript. I was like, I don't know that I actually can help there. But as I've done the 3 that I've done, I've been like, no, I actually have the tools that we teach actually apply to full manuscripts. So yeah, I'm looking
Surprise.
forward to doing more of those. I'm surprised. I do. Did I mention my self-doubt earlier and how what a struggle that is? Okay, let's read some things from the community. Do you two have any others before I? We already read the things from
We
the
already
community.
Yeah,
read
we
them
already
from
read
the
them for this
community.
one.
Oh,
We
I'm
started
all
with the
over the map.
community.
Who puts me in charge of these things? Okay.
JP and
This is your
Asker and I
podcast.
ask ourselves that all the time.
All right, last question. Question 5. Do you have a message for the coaches of the community or the community? For the other coaches of the community? What's your
Laura,
message for the other coaches of the community? Let me read the other ones first. Let me read from the community first. And again, there were like so many of these, and they were all really beautiful and great, but we can't read all of them. So I literally kind of picked some out at random. Um, Message to the coaches. I know I would not have felt as comfortable, knowledgeable, and ready to delve into writing a novel if I had not immersed myself in the Dialogue Doctor community. First, binge listening to the podcast, and then joining the Dash this spring. The community you have created is safe, friendly, uplifting, supportive, and thoughtful. You make it easy for writers to ask questions, and your insights are extremely clear answers, make it easy to take the next steps toward finish your book or braving any one of the steps it takes to get there. Bravo and thank you. Oh, that was a really nice one.
Wow.
I know. I picked out the ones that like, oh, these are really nice. They make me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to read them. I love your team. You're each bringing your own personality and strengths. Thank you. Thank you for all the time and help. I learned so much from you guys, but I also love the podcast to hear you talk about random, mostly writing related things. Mostly writing
That's
related
right.
things.
I love
That's
that you honed in on the mostly writing related because I honed in on the random.
um
yep.
you you guys have changed the way I write for the better. The Dialogue Doctor was the first writing podcast I ever listened to, and I'm grateful for everything I've learned from you over the years. So I thought that one was really special. I found the Dialogue Doctor podcast as a novice 3 years ago when I was trying to learn how to write realistic dialogue. Your podcast completely transformed my writing, and I feel comfortable employing many of the tools you've given your listeners. Without your podcast, I may have abandoned my writing quest as an impossible goal. Instead, armed with your tools, my peers in a writing group say that I'm now a good writer. Thanks for creating a wonderful, supportive community and empowering many writers. I thought that one was great. Okay, I got 2 more. 3 years already, 200 episodes, 3 question marks. I liked this one because that's how I feel too. Congrats. I can't imagine how keeping writing without everything you give me in the community. And the last one is thank you all for everything you do for the community. I learned more here than other podcasts combined, and I feel part of a living, growing community. You guys make a difference. Oh, that was nice.
Aww.
All right. Message for the other coaches of the community, go.
All right. For the community, keep writing. You can do it. Even if you doubt yourself, you've got a story in you. You got it. You got this. We're here. We're going to help. But the stories are yours. Just tell them. It's just, you can do it. For Jeff and JP, I'm going to make you really uncomfortable now. No.
That's why I'm dancing.
Does dancing make you less uncomfortable or more uncomfortable? I don't know.
It's the anxiety manifesting itself in my Muppet-like tendencies.
In your Muppet-like, right.
Call back.
Fonzie or
Wagga, wagga, wagga. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but seriously, thank you. I don't know what people know about like how we come up with our strategies and our books and our whatever, but one of us kind of like creates an idea and puts it out to the others, and then we all kind of like throw our ideas in, and we spend sometimes hours just talking about and debating how to talk about a concept. And I just really appreciate the way that you all are open to just JP is putting hours vomiting ideas in the chat. Thank you. I don't know if you wanted me to read that out loud or not, but you put it on the screen, so now I got to read it. But yeah, like just the way that we're so collaborative. Jeff, you mentioned it earlier about like nobody is like, oh, that's my idea, or right, like it really is just about creating the best tools and the best way of like thinking about writing. And I just really appreciate that collaboration, especially because you both have experience in the writing part of it, and you've never made me feel anything but included, even though I don't have that same writing experience. So I'm just really appreciative of kind of the space that you give me in this space. So there you go. Now
Thank you,
somebody else
Laura.
can
That's
talk,
very
but
sweet.
don't say anything nice about me because it makes me very uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Just
Good
all
noted there.
criticism. I can take that.
Okay, great. Um, I will go. I'll first start. I didn't mention this before, but as something that looking forward to doing, I really want to make sure that we create, and I did not make this as a comment, but I agree with them, more books based off of the things that we talk about. So like I want the community to know that we are working currently on one of our previous master classes and turning that into a book. And we want to do that so that our teachings aren't just these single points in time, but that there's something that people can reference back to. There's something that, it doesn't necessarily get lost in the ether. And so know that those are coming. Um,
JP will make sure of it.
I will continue to pester you two
No,
to
I love
read
it.
that first damn chapter.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
supposed
sent
to read
you
a chapter.
a month ago. Um,
It was not a month ago.
It was.
I don't know. Look at the date.
No,
It
and now I'm
was.
looking it up.
Oh, look, time has no meaning, JP.
To the community. I'll just keep going forward. Um, and know that like we do pivot, but we grow and change based off of you guys, and that you guys are our support. You let us know that we're moving in the right direction. So always feel like you have a voice, regardless of where you are on your writer journey, to let us know, like, this is what I need right now in order to move to the next step, whatever that is. Or this is just what I need right now, period. Like, not even to move forward, just I need this right now. So let us know, and that's how we will continue to grow and thrive. We'll do our best. To you two, hi. No, I honestly I really appreciate coming into this, and you guys have been both so like opening and welcoming, and just letting me be weird and say all of my strange ideas, and letting me go off on tangents and help create this weird set of things that we're doing this year and next year. I've never felt like, oh, I'm the new person. Oh, well, that sort of weird dynamic that you sometimes see within groups. I've always felt like coming in day one that, I've been here forever. So I really do appreciate both of you. Yay, I did it.
Yay, you did it. Um, I'm gonna say there's a quote that comes to mind from the movie Hoosiers, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like a basketball movie with Gene Hackman. And he has a phrase, team, team, team. No one individual is more important than the others. Um, I don't, without you two, I don't think Dialogue Doctor would have lasted past a year because I need a team of people who are stronger and smarter than I am to actually function and do things. So I appreciate both of you like jumping into this journey with me. And it is, it is, and I mean this when I say this, it is as much, we're not a like, hey, this is like the Jeff show with friends. We are a team and y'all are as important, just as even more important than the weird Jeff show that happens so often with me talking too much. So I really appreciate both of you, and I do every time we have a coaches meeting. I actually really look forward to it. It's like a highlight of my week. So Yeah, I appreciate what you bring. I learn a ton from you, and I really I love doing this with you. So thank you. To the community, I think something that has happened in over the last 200 episodes and in the community that I think is rare when I look at other writing communities is that we really do carry that attitude into the community. People in the Dialogue Doctor community are there for each other, not just there for themselves. And I think it's created a very rare culture that I hope we never lose, because I think it's very special. So I love that we've created a place where people feel safe. And people tell me that all the time. And I really, I find that very honoring that people can come and be themselves. And like JP said, be weird and say weird things and feel not judged or looked down upon or questioned. I think especially since we're an editing community, I think editing carries a lot with it, this idea of like, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, I'm a better writer than you. And there's a natural, like, I think in a lot of editing communities, a natural bent toward competition. And somehow our community has magically created a space that totally avoids that. And I love that and think it's really beautiful. And I really, really appreciate the community for carrying out that culture. It's really great.
I do too. But Jeff, I don't think that there's anything magical about it. I think that really stems from you and the humility that you bring
It's
to
totally magic.
right, completely magic. But no, I think that from everything that we do, we're coming from a place of humility, right? Like we're not saying that this is the way that you have to do it. We're saying it that this is the way that we've found helpful. This is what we think. But you all, as community members, know what's best for your story. And I think that that really comes from us following you and following your lead. So, just
I
thank
appreciate that.
you for that.
I'm going to avoid not
Now you can
trampling
sit.
on that with words.
Now you
Okay.
can sit
Thank
in
you.
the awkwardness of.
No, I have to sit in awkwardness. All right, let's take a moment. Anything else you want to say before I move to the next?
It was 2.5 weeks ago. That's fine.
I know, April the 19th. I looked not a month.
Whatever.
I don't feel bad until we hit the 3-week mark. I still have time.
That's right. You still have like a half a week left at least.
Before I start to feel bad, not before I actually do anything.
Before we actually listen to JP, before we feel bad about ignoring him. All right, let's talk about, on that note, let's talk about what's coming up this fall, because I think this is a good time to talk about what's happening. So we started, and I'm going to give a little bit of background because that's what I do. I talk too much and give too much background. Last year, we made a big pivot. I haven't talked about this on the podcast before, so I thought the 200th episode would be a good place to talk about it. We made a big pivot from focusing on working with people one-on-one to creating community experiences that give the same type of, trying to give the same type of individual attention and the same type of quality of teaching and the same type of like individual processing that you'd get in sessions with us, but trying to figure out ways to make them a group centric. We really started that last year, and I feel like this year we've actually figured it out in some ways. And that we did that because we have a choice, right? As coaches, we can either just continue to increase our prices and make ourselves more exclusive, because it's impossible to work with everybody. We only have so much time in the year. So
again, if you are a millionaire or billionaire and you want to sponsor
you want
us,
to just sponsor the year, oh my
gosh, I do want a sugar parent. Thank you.
So we had to make a choice, and my choice was, the choice that I made was, I don't want us to keep raising prices. I'd rather us create events that are cheap and affordable, not cheap as in like not well done, but affordable, for everybody, but that can hopefully provide the same experiences as a coaching with but more people can do it. So the first big thing we did was Dialogue Con. The next one we did was Dialogue Dash last year. And the Dash really, and then we attempted our first mini mastermind this spring. And we've learned a lot from those events. And I think the Dash was the one that really landed on like, okay, we can provide a massive amount of individual attention, and we can provide a massive amount of encouragement as a community, and keep this affordable. So we're going into a pattern. Again, we did it this spring and this fall. We're going to hold one master class, one mastermind, although we're changing what we did with the mastermind last time. We're improving upon what we did before, and we're going to do the Dash again. So the master class, we are going to take oh, JP's reminding me, yes, we also put out 2 workbooks this year with the Dash that I honestly think are the best teaching tools we've produced. And I'm not saying that to like pump them up. I'm being honest. They are the best things that we've put out, in that they walk you step by step through planning and writing a novel and editing a novel. And it's they are the best things we've made. So
and I think it's that comprehensiveness that
mm-hmm.
is what makes it the best. It's the teaching, it's the tool that you can use, it's it includes the prep and the planning that you need to do to make it work. We tried to find all of the areas where we know authors struggle, and that's what we kind of compiled together into these workbooks.
Yeah. So coming up this year, we're going to do our master class on Saturday, July 27th. And it is going to be a master. I'm super excited about it. We've been working out as a team what it's going to be about, like the details of the teaching. And it's going to focus on the story hypothesis and getting a deep dive and understanding of the tool that JP's created, which is an amazing way to look at story, and specifically around character growth arcs and your themes in your story and how they combine. With this one, JP, in your book, you talk about the Max Neef needs. One of the things I'm excited about this course is we do that, and people are like, but I like StrengthsFinder, and I like the Enneagram, and I like DISC profiles, and I like this, and I hate all personality types. So in this course, we're going to take time to talk about what the story hypothesis is in its heart, and how those different types of tests, those different things that exist in the world, how you can use those in different ways, what they're good at and what they're bad at, and like really dissect those and talk about like, hey, this is the base philosophy of what you need. Let's talk about how those other tests provide these things to really empower you to use the tools you love to accomplish what you need to accomplish with your writing. So that'll be, we haven't decided how long it'll be. They're usually about 4 hours. So that'll be on a Saturday. It'll be a master class. You'll be able just to sign up to be there present on the day, which I always think is preferable, because we do a lot of question and answer time in those. And you get to like, if there's something we say that you don't understand, you can be like, wait, say that again. But if you can't make that Saturday, you can also purchase the recording of it. JP, you want to add anything to that description?
I think it's a great description. You did well. I think
you.
to sort of think about what this could mean for story crafting and like how it might help you. If you think about story hypothesis as the overall theme or idea of a story, and let's say people are trying to attain freedom, this masterclass will focus on how do we create those variations? How do we show character growth for a character who we might call a healer, or a character who may be more advantageous, or something along those lines. I don't know all the names for all of these different character types and personalities, but regardless, it's the idea of how do I look at that theme, which is great in terms of knowing what my story looks like, and create those subtle variations within my main vehicles, within any engines and anchors, and create those facets based off of their personalities. Because people can aim for freedom, but it might look different in a person that wants to help everyone towards freedom versus a person that just wants their own freedom and will do anything they can to get it.
I love that. And it's an interesting thing about our community. In year one, we were really focused on dialogue-centric writing. In year two, we focused very much on character voice and how character voice works. In year three, we've been very focused on cast and like how a cast builds and how a cast works. And we still have some cast work to do. We've come up with a lot of things this spring that we kind of need to codify and figure out better ways to talk about, because we're still not we haven't built the like cast tool yet that I think is going to help everybody define their cast in an easy way. The workbooks are amazing, but we haven't put it online for free yet, which is something that's kind of like, for me, always the last step of like, all right, here's the thing that you can start with for free. I do think, though, that the next step of what we talk about in year four, I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be voice modulation. I think that's where we're headed next. And like specifically around what you're saying, JP, with character growth, like how do you demonstrate that growth through in the scene and in the larger story level, modulating that character voice. So this masterclass is going to be very much a kickoff to those conversations. Yeah, it'll be $189. These are all going to go up on the website sometime next week, not this week. This is kind of a preview. All right, second big event we're doing, Edit Yourself Like a Dialogue Doctor. This is going to be our fall mastermind. Why do I keep saying spring? Our fall mastermind. It's going to start September 1st. We have it has a weekly schedule to it. It's going to go until the end of October. We won't necessarily meet every week, although we meet almost every week after we planned it out. There's a weekly teaching and then an assignment to help you edit your own work. And we will do some cohort work as well, where we're working together. To be a part of the course, you're going to have to give us a section of writing. I think we settled on 1,500 words, but we might change that up front, and then we're actually going to use those things that people give us to teach the courses. This is, and the focus of this is like, hey, when JP, Laura, and I sit down to edit, what exactly are we doing? Like, let's talk to you about how we edit your work so that you can take those tools and edit yourself in that way. Laura, anything you want to talk about with that mastermind?
So this has really come out of the feedback that we've gotten from the community about I want to learn more about how you do what you do, because we hear people all the time say, I sit and I edit my work and I edit my work and I edit my work, and I after 3 or 4 edits I don't feel like there's really a change in the impact of what my editing is doing. And then we've also heard you say, we really want a workshop and we want to see what it looks like when you do this. We want to see the before and the after. And up till now, we've done that through the podcast with the free sessions that we post, helping people kind of see the before and after. But the goal of you all submitting your work is that we'll take that work and we will help divide it across what type of edits it needs. You've heard us all the time talk about, you need to make an edit based off of things like the choices that your characters are making. You need to edit based off of your character voice. You need to edit based off of the balance between dialogue and prose. And then sometimes you just need a good old fashioned fine tuning edit where you're really getting into the noise of the scene. So across the 9 weeks, we're really going to take those kind of 4 types of edits. And each week, we're really going to zone in on this is how you see it. Here's a piece before. These are the keys inside that are helping us know that this is what this needs or this is what that needs. So when you submit that 1,500 words to us, you will get that back with our feedback. So it's kind of like in addition to the class, you get a personalized edited piece, which is I think is really exciting, but it also kind of gives you the opportunity to ask the questions that you have about editing and the like, how do you nose and where do you go from there. That class will be running Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. We really struggled with picking the right time for this. We know we have people kind of everywhere who want to do it. Thank you, JP. 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to submit your work and just listen to the recordings because 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays doesn't work for you, that is absolutely, you're definitely welcome to do that. But just know, we just want everybody to know in advance, like we had to set a time and that's the time that,
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah. So
yeah, it will.
Again, if we had a sugar parent, we could put this at any other time.
We're just gonna keep bringing that out. That's right. Yeah. So that is like Laura said, that's gonna run for 9 weeks. The cost on that is $599. It'll be and there's a seat limit to that one. There's 20 people max. We're not going over that. So there's no seat limit to the master class. As many people want to come to that can come, but this one has a seat limit.
It will overlap with the dash.
Oh, great transition.
So
yeah, so we are going to do a dialogue dash again in the fall. That will start the week of September 29th will be the kickoff for that. The dash is our 80-day plan, write, edit program. It includes, we're in the middle of one right now, which is going fantastically. It is we do, for the planning, we do weekly webinars. You get e-copies of our 2 workbooks. We do each of us holds an office hours every week, which is an hour during the week where you can just show up and ask us questions. Everything is videoed, so if you can't make anything live, you can just watch it on video. Writing, the 30 days of writing, we move into, the webinars go away, but we move into daily encouragement videos, which I gotta say, this time the encouragement videos have been really fun. I've enjoyed I haven't watched day 5 today. I'm nervous the puppets came out by Laura Smile, but
not yet.
Puppets haven't come out yet. Okay,
not
good.
Yet.
I
have big plans for those puppets this season, though.
I wrote a Seussian poem for number 4.
I know, and I was like,
how can way too much effort that you 2 are doing.
Anyway, that's the dash. It's a fantastic experience. It's $80 a person. So it's $1 a day. And it's a really fantastic. It'll start September 29th and go through this year. It'll end the week of December 8th. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. So those are any comments on the dash before we
No, I would just say no, but I'm going to talk anyway. Yes. I think that the best thing about the dash is that you can do it at your own pace. We call it a dash because the goal is to be able to do all 3 parts within a set fixed amount of time. If your life and your schedule doesn't let you do that, that is totally okay. You can still use the tools to work at your own pace, to set your own goals, and the community will celebrate that with you. You know, my goals don't look the same as Jeff's goals, who don't look the same as JP's goals, and that's okay. We're celebrating that diversity. So definitely, Absolutely. if you haven't done it with us yet, it's a good place to start.
Come and jump in.
Yeah, it's definitely not a write 50,000 words in 1 month kind of thing. We let you set your own goal, and that can be write a whole novel in that month. And if you can do that, great, well done. If you can only write once a week and you only can fill out those 4 pages, great, you did it, and we're here to celebrate you for it. So don't think that wherever you are at in your ability to write and your ability to do the writing, that we would hinder that in any way. I also want to say too, the first dash we focused on single POV, the second dash we focused on multi POV, but now we've hit both of the primary concepts of what people write. Right? They either write one POV or they write multiple POVs. There's not really a like anti POV or a black hole POV. So the third dash is really just it's a sustaining sort of dash. So we will continue to talk about the same subjects, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah. And whether you're writing multi or single, you get both workbooks as ebooks, and they are different. They have different teachings in them. So you do get the full thing to kind of, as we do webinars and stuff, we'll cite certain pages. We'll be like, hey, go look at this and this workbook. You only need to use one workbook for the dash, but you get both for the content. Okay, so the last thing, we are going to do what we did in the fall. Because again, like we're on a constant quest to like make what we do affordable. So we're gonna do 20 season passes again. Season pass, you get a ticket to all three things. You get a seat at all three things, at the dash, at the master class, and at the Edit Yourself Like a Dialogue Doctor mastermind. And you get $100 off. So it's 700. It's the price of those three things together is $868. The season pass is $750. So just another way to save money. If you buy all three, you get all three. That season pass will go out to the Dialoger community via the Patreon first next week, and then I'll put it out to everybody. So but Dialogers always get the first shot at things. All right, anything, we will have more free episode slots coming up probably in June. I think we said we have it on the calendar. I don't remember. It's in the calendar. I think it's in June.
Once we are free of the dash.
Once we are free of the dash. Yeah, it's in June. And then we'll also but again, just to let you know how this works, the Dialogers and the Patreon get first shot at those. So, and they typically I give the Dialogers the first 12 hours to sign up. And by the time they're done signing up, there's usually like 4 slots left when it goes to the newsletter. So come join the Patreon. All right. I think that's it. I think we did it. This was a good 200th episode. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about? And we've gone for like 90 minutes. So we've lost like 2/3 of our audience.
I was going to say, if you're still listening, let us know in Slack. But one of us has to remember that that's what people are talking about. We did that one other time where we're like, if you made it this far, congratulations. And then somebody was like, what do I win? And we were like,
tell us what your favorite
did you win something?
Is.
Tell us what your favorite animal is. Nice. Yeah. If you're still listening, come into the Slack and tell us what your favorite animal is.
With no other context, just the animal.
Just be like unicorn.
Sloth. If it's not a sloth.
If it's not a raccoon.
Oh man!
Oh, Trash Panda's our second best.
Okay. We're violent here.
My Trash Panda will.
I like Trash Panda.
Your sloth and win.
My neighborhood just had a new animal move in called the Fisher Cat, and
fun.
it attacks small dogs and cats,
and
guts them as it drags their body into the woods, leaving their entrails in your backyard.
Didn't need that.
I think it's my new favorite animal.
What is wrong with you?
Gonna fight
Bye, everybody.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have this cozy sloth over here. Laura's has this fight-worthy, gonna do fisticuffs, and then Jeff has just a literal serial killer just going out about. So pick your favorite animal, everyone.
I was telling my kids, I was like, hey, when you walk our dog at night, make sure he's on a leash, because sometimes they just let him out and he pees and then they let him back. I was like, when the sun goes down, you have to be walking him. You can't just let him out. And then they were like, it's fine, Dad, if we just because we have foxes, so they look for foxes already. We'll just look for them like we look for foxes. And I go, here's the problem: Fisher cats climb trees, so they could be above you. And my poor 9-year-old was like, what? I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
They don't actually hurt anyone.
Oh, I think this is a good place to end.